the minute approval for the regular meeting of July 1st. I read all 3 volumes, and I didn't find any had to be corrections.
This must be the latest version.
I believe you had some.
I did, yeah.
I had no corrections.
Well, it has ceased. It's not will cease, it has ceased. I went over this whether I don't know if she reflected or not.
Let me see, then I'll check the original. Check what your.
There was some confusion on whether or not we were still collecting on that unexpired levy. So we just cleaned it up, not that it will cease, that it has ceased, so.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve with that correction.
A second.
Who's the second, Mike?
Yes.
Gene?
Yes.
EJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. All right, skip the reports. Chief John Phillips.
The protocols, January to June 30th. EMS calls was 304. Last year at that time was 261. Fire calls were 176. The year before was 194. Total calls is 480. The year before was 455. Mutual aids given were 100. The year before was 96. Mutual aid received was 29. The year before was 32. Total transports 207. The year before was 182. Total non-transports is 124. The year before was 102. Total transfers to other agency 1. The year before was 0. Total patients is 332. The year before that was 284. Been a little busy. Our back-to-back calls are running about 22.92, 22.29%. We had 43 back-to-backs and 7 triples. That was from January to June 30th. We also had structure fire on Saturday. It wound up being in Newberry. We handled the fire because Newberry's out on a rescue call at the time. So we just took care of it for them. About 3 hours we were on the scene for that. Saved the house and totaled the RV. RV is what started the fire. Other than that, I don't know if you're going to say anything about the July 4th parade or not. Bill?
About the what?
July 4th parade.
On behalf of the scouts, we want to thank everybody who attended, enjoyed hot dogs, and had a good afternoon, good turnout. I don't have any final numbers yet.
They went pretty good. We were down a little bit on the crowd, I believe, but we had a good attendance in the parade.
Yeah, I don't know, you know, riding the parade, it looked like there was people packed on both sides, so I think we had a really good turnout at the parade itself.
For the first time, we had enough candy when we hit the intersection.
Yeah, you had some
Last
parade.
year, we didn't have one left when all the people were on the intersection. That's what $1,000 in candy will do.
I think they're learning because there aren't that many people up here. Usually it's pretty crowded up here. They're all down that way.
Oh, my.
Yeah, well, see, the tough part about regulating it is whether you got your grandkids in the back seat or not.
Oh, yeah, they don't care. They start throwing as soon as they say go.
Handfuls, it's like, and throw the whole thing, okay, three, four, no, stop. And I had 4 of them back there, but we still made it through, so.
I had 4 also.
But it was a good turnout at the fire
It was.
department. I mean, you guys had to do halfway decent business, because those people were just constantly, and they were there for a long time too, longer than, you know, the people weren't leaving. They were actually seemed to be enjoying themselves, which was scary.
The only problem I saw was that behind us was the Sparklettes, And by the time we turned on to Auburn, they were about a half a mile behind us. So, I don't know if they caught up eventually.
They show up eventually.
I don't know, I was at the fire department and I didn't do anything with the parade. That was not my wheelhouse, so.
They had one tractor breakdown in the parade route, just kind of put a little bit of a hamper on things, but we got it out of the way.
Yeah. Well, actually, for having a bunch of old vehicles like that, I'm surprised we don't have more of that.
Well, when they said a tractor broke down, I said PJ did show up.
I took a combine over there one year and blew that $300 transmission bill. So, yeah. You kind of want to double check stuff before you go over there, kind of embarrassing.
Oh, it was a good parade.
Yeah.
You said there was less people this year?
Well, up at this end, but I think there's more, they all moved down here so they get candy.
I was gonna say.
Because everybody always runs out when they turn the corner, you know?
Yeah. What's the status of the new squad?
New squad's in, we have it. We got it up to the countryside to check it out, make sure everything's up to tip-top shape. We got an air tank that we gotta replace that they gave us with the squad. We hope to have it back in a couple days here, and then we'll work on getting it in service. Meanwhile, our rental squad that we have, he agreed to, on June 18th, which is when the insurance was up, he let us keep it at no charge.
Oh, great.
So,
That buys us a little time to get everything.
yeah, let's just get the new squad, or I should say the old squad, up to speed and get it ready to go.
Good. All right. Any questions for Chief Phillips? All right. Mr. McCune, what do you got?
Just one thing, last Thursday at 10:30, myself and Michael met Chip Hess and his associate at the Auburn Community Park to go over the septic plan again. And what we came up with, and of course, everything's gonna have to be approved by EPA and all that kind of stuff before we go anywhere, but we've decided to bring the soil guy, Ray Burns, back one more time. And when we were talking, PJ, when you were there, about a tank, a holding tank here, and then going here, and then running it this way. Chip Hess and his associate felt it would be much economically better to run it from this holding tank, a 2-inch pipe, which would be buried under the fields, straight to this area where we let the grass grow a little higher, and then run it through here.
That would be bored under the field.
Right.
That wouldn't be
Right.
dug up at all.
Right. So, like I said, they just wanted to have the soil guy come back and just check this one more time. The soils weren't all that great. They're, you know, like Auburn, you got 6 inches of topsoil and the rest is clay. But that's what they're looking at. So after we get the report from the soil guy, that's probably something that we'll
Well,
look
you
at
know,
and
Gene,
submit.
when he was pulling samples, this has been disturbed. This has all been moved
Mhm.
for the field construction, building construction,
Right.
et cetera. This hadn't been touched. I wouldn't be surprised if it does a little better over there.
That's,
as far as
well, it made a
soils.
lot of sense when he said the 2-inch pipe just
Yeah.
underneath, and no one would even know that was there, and we could avoid all this here. So, like I said, we'll wait to hear back from the soil guy, and then, you know, we'll try to either work some kind of contract with Hess as far as drawings, and, you know, and go from there. And see
Okay.
when the state finally funds this account, and see if we can move forward.
Good.
That's it.
PJ?
Not much that's not on the agenda here. We do need to, coming out of Memorial Day, I made a note, and I just found it again, we need to do some work on the museum up there. I believe that money that is earmarked from the church closing up to the museum fund, I think that is to increase, they're pretty specific about it. It was to increase access to the building.
Our ability, yeah.
Yeah, so these are just general repairs. And I don't see them as being significant. It's kind of handyman stuff, and those cells are falling apart and things like that. We'll probably, once we get past the Adam Hall stuff, we'll get the contractor we've been working on up there, just with them, give us a quote. That's just something old I had that I found today when I was going through my paper. I think that's it. Rest of it's on the agenda.
Okay. All right, Dan, you seem to have a few things to go over.
Well, the first is the payment listing for all payments processed since July 1st, our last meeting. I processed 10 electronic payments for a total of $43,055.71, and 19 warrants processed and produced for your signatures, totaling $203,320.67 for a total of $246,376.38. That's all I have. I guess the resolutions are part of the new business.
Okay. All right.
You know, I did have something else I wanted to mention too, and Nancy and I talked about it today. Our roster of hall reps for Adam Hall is pretty thin, and Matt Blowers, of course, does the lion's share of it, and he's kind of moved into semi-retirement. You guys are probably aware of that. He's traveling a lot more. Nancy did some checking. Similar position in Bainbridge is now paying $20 an hour. We're paying $15. We've had, Nancy has stepped up, Jane Hardy has stepped up on occasion to be hall rep randomly, but that may not continue forever either. We might want to readdress this. I know we probably want to build this into the cost of running Adam Hall. Obviously is.
Matt mentioned that he's.
Oh, to me, yeah, he's traveling more. There's one or two people around that can pinch hit, but they're not always available. As I said, Jane has done this, Nancy's done this.
Maybe we should look for somebody and split the job in half.
Well, if you know Matt's not gonna say, he's not gonna walk away from it because he.
No, we want him to, but on the same
Yeah,
hand.
but he is traveling more. So I think we need to, Nancy pointed out this one girl that hall rep for us on a pinch hit basis the other day was there for 10 hours for $150. It's gonna be hard to find people to do that now on an entire Saturday. So.
Well, I mean, why don't we just up it, you know, if we have to take it off our, maybe cost, but I don't have any cost, we don't have anybody to rep the hall, so.
I mean, you have to make this attractive for somebody to spend that much time.
I mean, do you make a motion to up it to 20?
Well, part of repping, I don't know if it is cleaning it in
No.
addition to repping.
No,
or
it's not, no. Matt's been doing that on his own. I think he did the cleaning following this one. This is strictly to be the hall rep on site.
Yeah, just during the.
But if he's not here and you have two back-to-back events,
I thought we
who's
had a
gonna
cleaning
clean?
group of it.
It's
No.
that marine cleans, him. Yeah.
I mean, if you got two back-to-back events and he's not around and you have a hall rep for one night, who's gonna clean prior to the next night?
Well, I think we could find, if he makes mention that he is going to be stepping away from this job, we can find a cleaning company. I mean, they're out there. Yeah, you don't just go across the reservoir, there's plenty of Amish that would clean that building for what we're paying.
Yeah.
But to have somebody just hang out there for 10 hours on a Saturday for $150, that's a stretch, that's a stretch.
And they're independent contractors at this point,
Yes.
not employees.
Right.
Right. So, yeah, if we can, if this would ease her concerns and maybe we can find somebody that would be more likely to be available, yeah, I'll make a motion to increase that.
Is the woman that you said filled in, is she willing, is that something she'd consider, or?
I don't think she'd wanna do this every Saturday.
Again, we're not asking her to, right? If Matt's still,
Yeah. When available.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna find more people available at $20 an hour, yard 15. I think is what we're finding, so.
And again, if you bump it up another $5, maybe Matt will be more interested in doing it, and we won't have to worry about that, so.
And we can adjust this in the hall fees in 4 months, you know, when we
Yeah,
get the
right.
organizational. But, yeah, there's some concern here for people being available. so.
and we're paying Matt 15?
Yeah, that's what we're paying everybody for hall wrapping, yes. Matt also gets paid to clean that building, post event,
Separately from being.
separate.
Right.
And that's not an hourly rate, that's a flat
That's a flat fee.
175.
Yeah, that's a flat fee.
Okay, well, I will
Make
second,
it.
if that is your motion, I will second.
What's the motion?
To move that Adam Hall.
Rep fee to $20 an hour.
Yeah. Rick, yeah,
The motion?
I did.
A second. Gene?
Yes.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Effective when?
And when will that be effective?
I'd start that now,
Yeah, maybe,
then she can start hunting for people.
So you're changing Matt's fee as of right now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's just for the hall wrapping,
okay. So, going to old business, we just went through the thing, open position to road department, and we got any responses to that? Is that
It's,
posted
the
yet?
first ad's going out on the 18th. She's got, we just signed the check for, it's gonna be in the Maple Leaf twice.
No, that's not for that one. I've got requisitions for Maple Leaf and I don't have invoices.
Okay.
That's from.
But it's going into Maple Leaf twice, I believe. And, did you see News Herald? Nate?
Chagrin Valley Times.
Valley Times. Starting on the 18th, Thursday. And then, that doesn't have a closing date on it, just that we're seeking, you know, positions here to be filled. She's gonna run it again, and the text of the second ads are gonna be changed to a closing date, that we're gonna take applications until the 4 o'clock on Monday, August 19th.
And this is for,
One for
Two
road
positions?
superintendent,
okay,
and one for,
another hire?
yeah, CDL preferred, or,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, well, that's the status, so by the second meeting in August, we're hoping to see some applicants.
What do you tell them for the compensation?
We've got a survey that we just received the results, I think Clarendon Township did it? Chardon Township did, Chardon Township did it. We're right in line with everybody else. I mean, there's some townships to the west are paying considerably more than we are. And some townships, including the one that initiated it, are paying considerably less. We're kind of the median, I'd say. We started the last hire, of course, that was, what was that, maybe 2020 that Benoit started?
Yeah.
He was part-time for a while. And then we got him he got his CDL. I think we started him, Dan, at 18. That's what I remember.
He's almost up to.
He is, yeah, he's been there, it might have been 2019 we hired
Gave him a
him,
good
actually.
bump this year, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah, he
we
got a
did.
pretty significant
Yeah.
one this year.
Yeah, we usually set it up for like a 5-year to get them up to,
Everyone else.
right?
So, I don't know, that's kind of, this last hire, I think we started him at 18, that was before all the labor issues have popped up everywhere. We'll have to increase that for starting, I think, on these 2 hires
Again, you're talking about, you know, if you're talking, somebody's coming from another road department that's got 10 years'
Yeah.
experience already, they know what they're doing, you know. And that's gonna be different than somebody who's never done it before, or with a minimum amount of experience.
But by and large, we're slotted in there pretty good, so as to what we're doing with our guys.
Okay.
We don't have to, we don't post the beginning salaries in the ad, do we?
No,
No.
Okay.
I mean, if you put a phrase in there, it would be something along the lines of salary based on experience or availability or abilities or something like that.
All right. So, new business.
You can read that one, I'll read the other three. You can read that one, I'll read the other three.
Inside village?
No, the levy.
Okay. We got 19, 18,
You need 16.
17, and 16. Okay. All right, this is resolution 2024-16, declaring it necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation. Board of Auburn Township, Geauga, Ohio, met in regular session on July 15th, 2024, at the Auburn Administration Building with the following trustees present. Us. Whereas the board has received certification from the county auditor pursuant to RC 5705.03B2, and the amount of taxes which may be raised within the 10 mil limitation will be insufficient to provide adequate amount for the necessary requirements of said Auburn Township, Geauga, Ohio. Be it resolved that by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County has determined the amount of taxes may be raised within the 10 mil limitation by levies of the current tax duplicate will be necessary to levy tax in such a limitation for purpose of ORC 57 for the general construction, reconstruction, surfacing, resurfacing, repair of streets, roads, and bridges. In Auburn Township, as provided as authorized in Ohio Revised Code ORC 5705.19G, at the levy rate of 0.65 mils for each $1 of taxable value, which amounts to $23 for each $100,000 of county auditor's appraised value for a period of 5 years, and is an additional levy. Ballot measures shall be submitted to the entire township, and the tax shall be levied on the entire township and within Geauga County. The levy shall be placed on the ballot on the election of November 5th, 2024, and begin collection in 2025. Be it further resolved, and the fiscal officer of Auburn Township, that he or she is hereby directed to certify a copy of this resolution along with the resolution 2024-15 and the certification of the county auditor received pursuant to RC 570503B2. The Board of Elections, Geauga County, Ohio, on or before 08/07/24 by 4 p.m. local time, and notify the Board of Elections to cause notice of election on the question of levying said tax to be given as required by law. So the moved the motion for adopting the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Who seconded that?
Gene,
PJ.
He made the motion, I seconded it.
Okay. Need to be resolved. So we need a second motion for this portion here. Oh, this is just for the vote. Okay.
We touched on this in our budget hearing, and Dan, in his budget summary for next year, Dan, I don't want to speak for you, but it's admittedly pessimistic a bit, but we will be 306,000 and change in the negative in R&B next year. as a result of, all the levy, the levy situation. We're gonna get into some of that next as to how that's gonna be fixed, but we're gonna have to change the way we allocate our inside millage away from road and bridge and to general in order to pay back the old. So that's, I guess what I'm saying is it points to the need for the levy.
Thank you.
Okay. And then
Okay,
we
resolution.
have, next one is resolution 2024-17, to reallocate inside millage. Dan will take that away.
Okay, as we discussed in the budget hearing. A resolution to reallocate inside millage. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township in a regular meeting on this 15th day of July 2024 at the Auburn Administration Building, 11010 Washington Street, with the following members present: Michael S. Troyan, Patrick J. Kavanaugh, Eugene T. McCune, Jr. Whereas the township currently allocates inside millage as follows: 1.40 inside general fund and 1.60 inside road and bridge. And whereas effective January 1st, 2025, the township desires to change the allocation of inside millage to 3.0 inside general fund and 0.0 inside road and bridge. And be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, hereby authorizes the change of inside millage allocation to 3.0 inside general fund and 0.0 inside road and bridge effective January 1st, 2025. Be it further resolved that the township fiscal officer is authorized and instructed to deliver a certified copy of this resolution to the Geauga County Auditor's Office to ensure the accuracy of relevant inside millage calculation beginning with the 2025 tax collection period. Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Gene?
Second.
Second, Pete, Mike,
Yes.
Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Sort of reluctantly, but in this case, this repayment's being made as fast as possible. We're kind of like Chuck Lawler would be the hammer and we'd be the nail, so.
Yeah.
Question. Conceptually, quite frankly, I don't understand this move. I am aware that the school system was transferring monies to the general fund, but explain to me why road and bridge, or why general fund?
I will. Okay, so the auditor has some discretion, I think, as to how to. Okay, we'll start at the beginning. We are obligated by state law to refund the money that was
Right.
collected inappropriately. The auditor, and I believe the Budget Commission may be included in this too, has some discretion as to how to get that money back from the township. In this case, one lump sum as soon as possible. So there's some pain here, all right? You're hearing it because we're making all these adjustments. They can't take that money, even though it was spent for road and bridge, and the levy that expired was a road and bridge levy, they cannot take the money out of the road and bridge fund to make this restitution or whatever you want to call it, recompensation. They have to take the money from general fund. That's another thing that's in the Ohio Revised Code. Anything dedicated to road and bridge must be spent on road and bridge.
Okay.
This is how the auditor wants to collect this money back from the township, so we can't put the money in road and bridge. He has to pull it from the general fund.
So now instead of putting 1.5 out of our 3 mills into the road, we're putting 0 in that, leaving 3 mills in the general fund, and then they can pull the money we owe them out of there.
And this is temporary, it could be, at the end of next year, we would do a similar resolution, putting that back to
Going back to where we were.
where.
That'd be my intent.
We as a township, we have the 3 mills inside village. We have the discretion how that's distributed. So even despite what's going on here, it was always discretionary that we kept 1.4 in the general fund and we put 1.6 into road and bridge. So that was just what we decided to do, and it was within our purview to do that. So even if this wasn't going on, if we decided, well, we're gonna put all 3 into the general fund, we could, because that's, instead of transferring it out.
This helps the county because they want their money now. They want
Yep.
their money
Yeah, they ain't
right
taking,
now.
they're not taking payments, the first distribution, they're taking the whole 750,000 from us.
If we could have worked out a deal to pay, over 3 years or 5 years, but no, they want it all, the whole 7 plus interest right now.
Right now.
We don't have that in road and
Well,
bridge,
isn't that-
that's why they're
isn't it-
taking it out of general.
Isn't it partly because they're paying it back right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's why they need the money right away, because we're paying it back right away.
Yeah. Okay, so this is, it's more technical than anything else.
That's kind of,
Money's-
yeah.
money's
It's kind of
Technically-
semantics, it's the same money.
Right,
We're just
but
not
it's
allowed to
fungible.
dedicate anything in the road. They need enough money in the general fund to yank that money out of the general fund. If it's in our road and bridge fund, they can't take it.
It has to be put back into the general fund then?
Well-
Well, it's not being put back in the general fund, because this year it's in split. We're just setting up for next year that all 3 mills remains in the general fund.
Yeah.
So they can take it right
So they
away.
can take it off the top.
Because they're not gonna take it right till the first of the year, right?
Yeah. It'd be in the first
It'd be
quarter.
in the
I
first
think, he
quarter.
said.
Whatever the first
What I
distribution is.
understood, yeah. Okay, maybe. It's an interesting concept.
Well, and
It's,
eventually, like PJ said, we'll probably reverse that down the road.
Yeah, once we're paid off, then we'll probably go back to having the 1.4 and the 1.6.
Yeah, as this was getting hashed out as to how it's, this was months ago, I'm asking some questions as to what's going on here. Of course, there's a Columbus agency, or the Ohio Department of Taxation was involved at some certain points. And county prosecutor said this is kind of unprecedented, so,
It's kind of what?
unprecedented. So,
Yeah.
Meaning we're making all this up as we go along.
yeah.
Well, unprecedented doesn't necessarily mean that, you guys are not being truthful. It just means it's unprecedented in his experience.
Yeah, never been done before.
Well, it's never happened in his watch, and that's different. Those are 2 different occurrences.
I don't like to say much because I wasn't here, but it just sounds like we're paying back money we never asked. Right?
You could say that, that's one way to put it, yeah.
We'll be watching, so we'll see now, but I might be asking.
See, that's the beauty of being a township trustee.
Yeah,
Even though you weren't here at the time, it's your problem
I
now.
love it.
You're solving, you're creating a solution. That's important. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and this next resolution, 2024-18, oh wait, do we vote on that, Alice?
I believe.
I believe you did.
Yes.
Okay. 2024-18, as we discussed in the budget hearing, part of the, our strategy to ensure that we would have enough money in the road and bridge fund to do the road projects we had originally scheduled to do. One of the things we did was we had been carrying over monies in the gasoline tax fund. And it appeared we were going to carry over an additional $200,000 again this year. So to give the road and bridge fund some relief, the $200,000 that was appropriated at the beginning of the year, this is a resolution to pull that back and pay our 3/4 of the salaries of the road and bridge wages out of the gasoline tax. where normally it's paid out of road and bridge. So, supplemental appropriation, the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, met in regular session on the 15th day of July, 2024. Present were Michael S. Troyan, Patrick J. Kavanaugh, Eugene T. McCune. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, that it is necessary to adopt the following. Negative $200,000 supplemental appropriation from the Special Revenue Fund Gasoline Tax 2021-330-360 Contracted Services in order to increase the January 1st, 2025 projected fund balance for the 2025 budget. Therefore, the board adopts the aforesaid and requests an amended certificate. So this will increase the beginning fund balance in the road and bridge by $200,000 by taking 75% of the road and bridge wages and paying it out of gasoline tax. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Mike motion, PJ second. Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes. It was nice of you guys to offer not have to pay check for the first 6 months. But after talking, you know, your significant others, they thought that was a bad idea. But we appreciate it.
And then the final resolution. 2024-19, adopting the budget of Auburn Township for fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2025. The Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, met in regular session 15th day of July, 2024. Present were Michael Troyan, Patrick Kavanaugh, Eugene McCune. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, that it is necessary to adopt the following. The Auburn Township budget for the fiscal year 2025 is hereby adopted as presented on the financial worksheet attached hereto and made part of this resolution. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's all I have.
Dan, will this final 2025 budget, will it be online as it was last year?
It was online on July 5th as the ad stated in the paper newspaper.
Okay, but it is at the website.
Yes.
Okay, quite frankly, we've been pretty busy and
Oh.
haven't had a chance to check. So,
Yeah.
okay, I will look for that then.
And there's a copy up there on the board, below the calendar, I believe Nancy has it.
Okay.
Yeah, I went through all 30 pages, makes good, nice light reading.
Hey, anything that you can read, as long as you can read it, it's good exercise. I'm sure you understand that.
I think she's making a comment with your old.
Okay. Okay, next thing I'm doing. We need to approve or reject house number assignment for 16316 Munn Road, recommended by the Geauga County Engineer for parcel number 01-106000 per Auburn Township Resolution 2024-09, requested from William Timmons.
So it's on the north end of his property, on the west side, from the last barn, right where the Welcome to Auburn sign practically is.
Right on
So
top line.
he's not putting a house in there, he's putting a drive in, is that what we're?
Well, right now, it's just numbering the parcels. so-
Right. So is that so he can put in a drive?
I have no idea what he's.
I would assume. Drive or
Isn't that have something to do with the project that he was promoting here in the first of the year that he's working on? Isn't that where that's going?
I would not be surprised,
Okay.
yes.
Of course, none of that is an issue. Our issue is, are we okay with the number the county engineer gave to that parcel or not?
I'll make the motion to accept it.
I'll second that. That's interesting how that policy has changed, because when I did my house here just 4 or 5 years ago, they asked me, well, you gotta be a number higher than 1197, or what do you want? That's all there was to it.
Yeah, well, it's
Now
like,
there's a
you know, why
solar-
we're involved, I mean, what do we have to go off of that we can, you know, I figure, you know, they're pretty good at giving numbers. If they screwed up really bad, we'll just make a half between the two.
Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you wanna handle the next two, PJ?
Yes. It's all in one letter here from the county engineer. And this is for our various roads to Bartholomew, Quinn, Edwards, and Edinburgh. Part of which was funded by an OPWC grant. All right, so at the last meeting, we made a payment to Roniak for $302,937.75. That was for part of the project through June 14th. And they also billed OPWC, and they paid $156,062.25 for a total of $459,000. That was a partial for this project. All right, so now it's finished, and this is when all the adjustments come in. The good news was there was a change order, and the amount of the project was decreased $18,669.90. So I think the first thing we have to do is approve that change order based on that engineer recommendation.
That is correct.
So I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Who second?
I did.
Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, so now that that's fixed, this is the final breakdown of how this is to be paid. We're gonna pay Roniak $161,134.50. And then we're going to request OPWC funds be made in the amount of $86,920.60 after we pay that previous amount to Roniak. I think the engineer makes that request. I don't believe it's to OPWC. I don't believe we do directly. So I will make a motion to pay Roniak Paving Incorporated for this year's various road resurfacing, $161,134.50.
I'll second.
Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Okay, so we're done with Roniak then. The OPWC still owes them a portion. I don't remember us requesting money from OPWC, but if you read this, it kind of looks like that's what he wants. Let me read this sentence, see what you guys think. We recommend that a request of OPWC funds be made in the amount of $86,920.60 after the township's portion of this pay application is paid. Now, does that mean that we make that request?
No, it just says, we recommend that a request of So basically, it's after we pay this,
Yeah.
they're not saying that we requested, they're not really saying who's requesting it.
No, they're not.
They're just saying that a request be made.
I don't remember us ever doing that.
Yeah, so I'm sure that basically they're just, they want us to pay the final bill
Yeah.
so that they can say, yeah, they paid the final part, and
Yeah,
they'll.
that's not terribly clear, but I think you're probably right, because I don't.
Yeah, I
remember us
think
ever
the
doing
PWC could be a good laugh if we called up.
that. Yeah, I don't remember us.
All right. So, save the date, zoning commission meeting on 7/25 at 7 o'clock. Next board of trustees meeting is on 8/5 at 7:30. Zoning commission meets again on 8/8 at 7 o'clock. BZA on 8/13 at 7 o'clock. And the zoning commission on 8/22 also at 7 o'clock. Public comment?
Nice job with the fireworks, too. Nice job with the 4th of July fireworks on that.
We
Good job.
try.
As a wanderer of your park up there, I go back through the woods, and there's two pretty good-sized trees across the path. I mean, pretty good size. Across the path in the woods area.
I'll take care of that for you.
That must
Take
have
care of
just
that.
happened because
Anything else you need?
we walked it not that long ago, I wasn't there, so
That last
must have
windstorm.
just happened.
You know, it put jumps in for you, huh?
See,
Me and my horse.
I'm
I'd
glad you
love
brought it
to,
up, that means,
love to be able to ride it.
this way you got to see how delegation actually works.
Yep. Thank you.
Alrighty, going once, going twice. All right, we'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Gene,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
You wanna date that?
Changes our places.